chip off the old block. Looking at you got me thinking about my old pops. How I'ma navigate and get you through the road.
You know, you're dealing with a loss of a dad, a father figure, and then you're also dealing with the loss of a child. I think the emotions is more like, you know, when is this going to end, or even like how is life going to be after this? Like, how do you move on after this? And usually it seems like there's no end to it, you know?
Hey, what's good, folks? D. Anthony here from the Dad Vlog, and you're listening to the Dadvocate podcast. Today we have a very interesting guest here. We have a YouTube personality by the name of TJ Davidson. Now, TJ is a very interesting person, and he puts a whole new spin on the term family business. Him and his wife run a vlog called the Daily Davidsons on YouTube, and they pretty much share their experiences as parents in front of the entire world to see. Now, in addition to being a YouTube personality, TJ is also an entrepreneur. He owns his own film company where he freelances doing video work. Some of the topics that we go over in this episode are going from a 9 to 5 working as an engineer to full-time YouTuber. TJ also walks us through their miscarriage story and how they navigated through all of that. Also, TJ talks us through his initial thoughts when his wife wanted to get breast augmentation surgery, also known as a boob job. Hope you guys enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny because like I feel like I never wanted to be on YouTube, and
I can't tell.
It's crazy, right? Like my whole world has kind of became about YouTube, but you know, yeah, I guess a lot of people know me as the YouTube guy, but if you watch the vlogs early on, you would know I didn't want to be there. Like it was very evident that I didn't want to be on camera. So but people started asking more and more for me to be on there with her because they like how we interact on camera, and that's how it kind of evolved into the family vlog thing.
Yeah, so you guys are up to about 270 subs on that particular channel there. What made you guys start that anyways? I guess it was Tiffany's brainchild initially, right?
Yeah, at the time when we first got on YouTube, you know, like 2009, like YouTube was it was weird. It was seen as something like people see you holding a camera in public. People like, what are you doing and why are you recording? Yeah. Because a lot of people didn't even know YouTube existed at that point. But then it kind of evolved, and like now it's like people see you holding the camera, they ask you what your vlog is. They know what you're doing already. So yeah, man, it's definitely her brainchild. You know, she really actually started off in the beauty kind of area where she was making beauty videos, makeup tutorials, and she started doing them out of her room. And that, like, I didn't even know that she was doing it at that point, you know. And she was uploading videos. She had over 100,000 subscribers. And I found out when she finally did a boyfriend tag with me. At that point, she had over 100,000 subscribers. No, I mean, so we were in college when we started it, and it was kind of weird because it wasn't like we were setting out to make money off of it. It was just something we did for fun. Yeah. Me and my guys in college, we got together. We made our own channel, and we started doing videos like comedy videos and stuff, and that was fun. And then I kind of branched off into the cooking world because Tiffany and I moved in together, and I just was like, how am I get like home cooked meals? You know, Tiffany didn't cook that much, so I was like, let me just start making videos of me cooking, and like, you know, I learned a little bit from my grandma, so I know what to do.
Oh, this is you cooking, like actually preparing meals.
Yeah, this is like me making home cooked, scratch meals. Like,
oh wow, that's great. Initially I thought it was just you like filming other people making food.
No, I was honestly, it was a couple of guys who were doing cooking videos. I was one of the top guys doing cooking videos at the time. Yeah.
So this YouTube thing is kind of interesting because you guys are under the family vlog title, right?
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of, I don't know if the word is drama, controversy around the family vlogging in the YouTube world. You want to run everybody through what this whole situation is with like kind of getting demonetized and them taking away like you guys' comments and stuff. I don't know if everybody's privy on that, so I think it'll be good coming from you.
So our comments have gone down. A lot of people thought that we took them down, and no, we didn't take them down. Like we actually love the comment section, because the comment section is like basically it's community for us. Like it's our way to get in touch with the people who support us, and this whole kind of demonetization thing has come from the idea of the fact that, you know, if you're a YouTuber, you're basically using your children and your family as workhorses, basically. You know, you have them out there doing these long hours or whatever, and a lot of people see YouTube as like, you know, it is a job, but people have made it into a career, and people are making all this money off of it, and then these kids are being kind of used to be into the forefront of that stuff. Yeah. But I think the problem is, like, we lump everything into the same idea, where there are those channels where families do use kids a lot. You can see their kids like on the thumbnails with, you know, a broken arm or something like that. But those are just life experiences that you have with your family. It doesn't mean that you're actually making that child work. Those children are doing exactly what they would do every day. Yeah. I just happen to be recording it.
So wait, let me see if I can summarize what you just said. So YouTube is saying, hey, you family guys are taking advantage of your family a bit, and you guys are making a bunch of money off of it. So let us kind of regulate this a little. Is that what it is?
Yeah, we're talking about child labor laws.
Child labor laws. Okay, all right.
And then we're also talking about that's a part of it. We're also talking about people who actually look at YouTube and look at children on YouTube and are pedophiles. Mm-hmm. That's another side of it, where people have started to complain about, hey, you're putting this child out there, and there's people who watch it who maybe pedophiles or maybe have some type of sexual offense or something, and they want to regulate what is for kids and what is not for kids. So it's just like you have to tell YouTube now whether your channel is made for kids or not made for kids, and that's basically the solution that they came down to. But the problem is that, you know, the family vlogs are still in that gray area somewhere, where they still haven't figured out what they want to do with it. And their solution for that, for some reason, is to take down the comment sections. Yeah.
So is your channel considered, I mean, it's not for kids, right? I wouldn't think any of these, or are any of these vlogs like for kids? Is this for kid comprehension, or is this for adult comprehension? Like, where would you put it?
Well, I think our channel is more about adult comprehension. Yeah. It's more about the adult experience in parenting, but a lot of people kind of like us. I mean, we didn't really set out to make money doing this, so we didn't come up with a business plan for it, and we didn't have like this idea of like, this is what we stand for. We were just being us on YouTube. But nowadays, like, channels come up with these plans, and this is what they are, and this is what we stand for, and all that stuff, which is great. But YouTube wants to know a little bit more definitively about what your channel is about. Yeah. What do you do it for? And who is the target audience that you're trying to attract?
Yeah. So when all that stuff started to happen, did you see a huge dip in like your AdSense, like how you actually made money when this whole COPA, because that's who this is sponsored by, right? Or orchestrated by the new COPA laws?
Yeah, so we definitely saw a dip, and I believe that a lot of it was just due to, the advertisers not want to be involved in certain situations, and YouTube trying to help facilitate that whole situation where, advertisers were upset with the content that they were being used for, and YouTubers don't really have a say in which advertisers go on their page. So YouTube has been trying to do a better job of facilitating which advertisers go for what, and figuring out what can go on what page. And yeah, you saw a huge dip. I mean, you get big advertisers pulled out of YouTube. Yeah. But I think for us, we've grown slow. We grow very slow. We don't grow very rapidly like a lot of people do. So a lot of our, revenue has been geared towards sponsorships. So,
Okay.
Even though we saw a dip in views, our sponsors, we made enough money from our sponsors to still carry on and do what we need to do anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good, because what I was hearing, and I probably just hear all the bad parts first, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hear that, our AdSense dropped. We're losing all of this money. You're affecting my livelihood, and at least those are all the videos that the family vloggers, make. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, yeah, a lot of them are very dependent on AdSense though, and that's a true story.
Yeah.
Luckily we set up ourselves to be able to kind of get into that sponsorship space where we're doing deals outside of YouTube.
Yep.
Where the AdSense doesn't really matter as much as it used to. But we probably saw a drop in, probably, I want to say maybe like 60% of our revenue from YouTube on AdSense probably disappeared, I would say, over the last few years. But also we also don't post as much and as much as we used to either. So that's a part of that is due to us.
So when you have situations that go on like at home, and you have your kids, like you brought up the example before, like, somebody have a broken arm, and they would have that broken arm whether you were filming it or whether you weren't filming it. Is there like a cutoff that you do? Like, how do you know when the kids don't want to be filmed, or if they're not happy, do you film, or how does that work?
That's a tough situation. I remember an analogy that someone gave a while back. I can't remember who it was, but they said, if you're a farmer, right, and you have kids on your farm, the kids grow up, milking cows, doing things with the chickens, helping around the farm. So the same thing is kind of true with what we do with YouTube. We are YouTubers, and we made that decision.
Yeah.
But our children kind of go along with that. Like we're a family, and we do this together. This is a family business. So yeah, I feel like it's hard to navigate the mindset of the children. But you can definitely gauge whether a child wants to be filmed or not. Some of the children will speak out a little bit more, like our middle son Chance. He'll speak out and say like, hey, I don't want to be filmed right now, or get the camera out of my face, something like that.
Okay, all right. It's pretty straightforward.
It's like that's okay. We honestly don't film that much, and a lot of people on the viewer side would be like, hey, I didn't see Chance today, or I didn't see so and so today in the comment sections, and sometimes it's due to that very reason that he didn't want to be filmed today, or we didn't really want to bother him with the camera. So we don't kind of push our kids to be involved with it. If they want to be involved with it, they can, but they also have their own channels where they access daily to do videos on those channels. So
yeah. My new favorite video of yours, it was I think the title was, I'm not always happy. I'm not in a perfect situation. This was like a few years back.
Really, I literally.
You don't remember what? Well, you said it sounded like it was something like, there's all this, we give this image of being just like, very happy and perfect, but we go through regular stuff just like everybody else goes through anyways.
Where did I say this at? Where was this at?
On your YouTube channel.
On my YouTube channel? Look, so I'm telling you.
Or this may be Tiffany's vlog channel. Yeah, it was on the vlog channel. It was a while back. I had to do some digging.
There's so much content. I literally don't remember saying that. But this is like why. This is how you can tell if somebody is real or not, though, right? Like, because some people will say something and then they have to walk it back. But I agree 100% with whatever you just said. Like, like we are not always happy. But we do have a lot of people that, you know, wonder like why are we so happy? And I think a lot of that is due to just the life choices that we've made over the years, what we've accepted, and the standards that we've set for our lives that allow us to be happy and just accept the brighter side of things, you know.
So what kind of content do you consume? Like, you guys make family vlog stuff. So do you watch other family vlogs, or do you watch, I don't know, lions in the safari? Like, what kind of content do you consume?
No, I don't. I'm not a consumer. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not. I can't consume the content. I can't even watch my own content. I can watch it long enough to edit it, and I know it's good. But then when it's out there, I don't go back and watch it.
Facts. I know exactly what you mean. Exactly what you mean.
I'm not a consumer. I think there's a difference between, you know, being on YouTube or being on Instagram or any platform and being a consumer of the platform, and being a supplier or just the facilitator of that platform. You know, like, a lot of us are creating content for the platform, and we're so busy creating content for the platform, there's not enough time to really consume the content. And I think that's a good thing, you know, because you can get stuck in this like loop of like, you know, they're doing good, I'm not doing good, and you know, so I don't read a lot of comments. I may come across a couple that I'll respond to, but I don't like to spend a lot of time doing that.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing, because it's always funny when people ask me, because you know, when we do the dad vlog stuff, they say, "Oh, do you know about this person and this person?" And for me, it's like I have to learn all of this like on the spot, because I don't consume that kind of content. All the content that I consume is like self-help stuff, right? Where I listen to a lot of audiobooks, a lot of like educational podcasts, anything that's kind of like self-help. That's the kind of stuff that I have.
I listen to motivational videos every day, and I feel like in order to be inspired in what we do, that inspiration has to be coming from somewhere, and usually being on the platform or on whatever social media platform, it really doesn't really create that kind of motivation, but it does give you ideas. And I love to, you know, if I come across something and it's a great idea, I'm like, man, that's great. How can I put a spin on that? How can I make it apply to what I'm doing on my end? So
I think that same thing, because you know, like I said, I don't consume a lot of content at all, but I am a studier of stuff, right? So when I wanna infiltrate a field or something, I do a lot of looking, you know, a lot of studying, like, oh, who's doing this, what kind of stuff, why do these people right?
That's the engineer, bro.
Like, what made 182 people comment on this video? So I'm going through drawing comparisons to this video to this one, and then I'm forgetting what the actual content is, and I'm just looking at the stuff behind, like the mechanisms behind.
That's the art of reverse engineering, and a lot of people don't know how to do that, bro. Like, but you can definitely like look at something and figure out how to get there by just walking it backwards, you know. And like that's a perfect way to get stuff going, man.
Yeah, that's absolutely what I do. So do you guys have like a process that you guys do, or do you just kind of wake up and just, I guess, start filming? Like, do you write shit down, or?
I mean, like, it depends on the content. Like, most of our creative content is more like we have an idea, we have a structure to it, and then whatever happens in between happens. But you know, I feel like a lot of times we wake up, we just do what we do, man. And I feel like it's really about what your audience has come accustomed to.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
So I noticed that, like, it didn't really matter how much effort I put into the editing of my vlogs, of our daily vlogs or whatever. People were still going to watch it at the same rate, right? they really love how Tiffany would just hop on and just talk, right? And that's because the subscribers that we had really came accustomed to the style of vlogging that we did, right? But it's hard to venture outside of that, though. You know, it's hard to move on to a different, like, kind of genre or do something different.
Like you'll see a dip? Like you'll see a dip?
Yeah, you know, like, I mean, even in your Instagram posts, like, you know when, you know, the content is outside of what your people want, you know? Like, it's really evident on Instagram, but when you're on YouTube, I feel like people really come accustomed to, like, the style of vlogging that you're doing, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah, that makes sense. And I learned that I won't say the hard way. I learned that the interesting way because I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, oh, this is going to be cool. You know, let me switch this up a little bit. Because usually, you know, my Instagram was full of me and Taj just interacting and doing what father and sons do. But then when I post something else that's a little bit off, that I think is, like, incredibly creative, it's like, boom, there's a dip in engagement. There's a dip in everything. Exactly. I'll upload something 20 minutes later and, hey, where was all you people at 15 minutes ago?
Exactly. When I posted that cool thing.
Yeah, when I posted.
That was,
I spent 35 days editing this cool clip, and, you know,
exactly. They don't care.
And you guys don't care about it. Taj laughs for 10 seconds, and the engagement.
They love it.
It's very, very interesting the way this whole world works.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
So you've been in this game for a minute. Like, you've been, like, married, mad kids. Y'all got married, like, what? How long ago y'all got married? Like 8 years ago or something like that?
Don't let me start lying to you, man. So we got married in 2014.
2014. All right, cool.
So it's been about 6 years or so. And then, you know, we had 2 kids before we got married. And that was Jaiden and Chance, our oldest 2 boys. And then we had Carter after we were married.
So guys with pregnancy, I know you got the women's side of pregnancy. You know, they have their stuff. But I don't know if our side necessarily, our story gets aired out a little bit. And I figured you're probably the best person to talk to since you've been through not 1, not 2.
I've had 4.
But 4 pregnancies. Right.
4 pregnancies. Crazy.
So did you have different experience, or was Tiffany different with her pregnancies for each one of them? What was the difference in experience?
See, my oldest son is 8 now, so we're talking about a span of 8 years, right? Like, my memory is not the best, but I feel like she was definitely different for each one. But I think it was just mostly due to her level of maturity as a woman, and also her expectation of what pregnancy should be. Like, our first child was Jaiden, and he was he was a tough pregnancy for both of us, just because we were dealing with a lot financially. Like, we weren't financially stable. I was still living in an apartment that, like, I was living with 3 other guys, and then you know, they moved out, so I was paying this rent by myself, and I mean, it was a tough situation for both of us. And I would say that was probably the most difficult pregnancy. And, you know, just from the burden end of it, like how much we had on our plate, and like just where our maturity level was at. Chance was easy. He just came, and that was it. But we were in that situation. We weren't, you know, expecting to have another one. So it was difficult. We had to move out of our apartment that we were in into our first house. And we were 23 years old at that point, I believe. We were 23, 24, something like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's young.
We bought our first house at like 24 years old. And then we had Carter. Carter was a breeze as well. But then we had Nova, and Nova took a little while for us to get her here, and we were happy to have her. But you know, we went through a lot during that season.
Yeah. So was Tiffany, was she moody at all during any of these?
You're gonna get me in trouble. But no, I would say definitely. I mean, like hormones are hormones. I think she was definitely moody. She was definitely hungry. But
like
she,
like hungry for food.
Like hungry, yeah. Like, but she definitely had those hormone shifts where she was, this way and that way. But I think for the most part, she was pretty good. I've seen some bad ones. Like I've seen some bad situations.
Yeah.
But she definitely, is a very strong woman and dealt with all of them like a champ.
Yeah. I was thinking that too because Rachel's pregnancy wasn't bad at all either.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she was a little moody, which was more moody than I have experienced. And my personality, even non-pregnant women, if women get too moody for me, it's like, okay, I'm just out of here. Like I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk through emotions. I'll just leave. Why? Because I don't necessarily have to sit here.
Yeah, exactly.
So when Rachel actually, when she was pregnant, and she would get moody, and I can't get up and just leave like I normally do, right?
Nope.
Now I got to sit here and I have to figure out a way to talk it out. I have to figure out why she's feeling this way, and it was a whole change for me. I feel like I went from 0 to 100.
No, yeah, for me, what I really appreciated was her dedication afterwards. Like, so just getting into she wanted to get into the gym. She wanted to get back fit, get back right. And she did a fitness show after each pregnancy.
Oh, wow.
And, to get back in shape. And this is dedication there. But she definitely, I feel like she was more moody probably after the pregnancy. And that was just, because, of I guess, postpartum depression and stuff like that,
Yeah. So you guys also went through like a miscarriage at some point.
Yeah.
All right. You want to walk us through that? Where was that? Was that after the second?
Yeah.
Kid
So no, that was after Carter. So we tried for a couple of years. Well, actually, we went a couple of years without we're good. We're done. And then she was like, I really want to try for a girl. And that was a hard decision for both of us. But we tried and we got pregnant, and she dealt with the loss of her father around the same time. So going into that pregnancy, we were pretty far along, and she had her appointments and stuff like that, and she lost her dad, and she was the one who had to make all of the decisions for it. She's at the hospital to tell them when to pull the plug and all that stuff, and we had to sit through that on our own at a young age. We were under 30 at that point.
Yeah. And
we were dealing with trying to bury her father, and he was a very, very healthy man. And lost them like that, and so that's what kind of led to the emotional depression, and then ultimately the kind of loss of the child. But of course there's situations where they say that wouldn't lead to the loss of the child, and I definitely don't want to put blame on my wife or anything for being emotional or anything like that. But when you're dealing with so many different emotions and so many different hormones and stuff at the same time, it becomes tough for a child to bear. For a woman to bear a child.
Yeah.
But she was a rock through that whole situation, and she handled it really well. And then we tried again. We got pregnant again, and we were able to have Nova.
So what were your thoughts like when she told you, or when you found out that it was a miscarriage situation?
Well, I mean, for me, it's always about support, man. I never want to, ever since we've been married, and even since we've been dating, it's always been, for me, it's always been about trying to not say something that I know will affect her for the rest of her life, you know?
Right.
So in these tough situations where you have miscarriage, where you have a situation where you're making a tough decision or whatever, you can say things that, you know, are not in your character. I always want to make sure that I say words that I know I won't regret saying. So I always support her, you know, in every decision that we make, in every situation that we're in. I'm her cheerleader, man. Like, I just want to support her in that situation, the best I can.
Were your emotions towards when you found out, were your initial emotions towards the loss of your child, or were your initial emotions towards how Tiffany was feeling?
I think it was all a blur, man, because it's like, you know, you're dealing with a loss of a dad, a father figure, and then you're also dealing with the loss of a child. I think the emotions is more like, you know, when is this going to end, or even like how is life going to be after this? Like, how do you move on after this? And usually it seems like there's no end to it, you know?
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, because some of those situations, I mean, I don't know what you guys decided to do, but I know there's a few different options that they have, right? I mean, you can kind of let the baby come out naturally, or they can like induce it. Right? Yeah,
we had we had an appointment for the hospital, and they had to remove the child for her. There are certain situations where they can let the child pass. But this was definitely in the very early stages of the pregnancy. But, you know, there are situations where you can let the child pass at home, and it's very painful. Yeah. And then there's situations where women have to deliver the child as if it's a normal birth.
Did you guys both decide on something, or did you kind of let Tiffany decide?
Oh, yeah, definitely let her decide, because it's her body, you know, and I want her to be happy and satisfied with that decision that she made. Or, well, we make it together, but it's definitely she's taking the lead on that decision. Yeah. And I questioned her about how she would feel about it, or, you know, whatever I need to ask her. But if that's what she wants to do with her body, man, that's what she wants to do, and I'm just here to support you.
Yeah. Did that change the way that you guys did maybe like pregnancy, like announcements or something?
Oh yeah, for sure. We actually announced that pregnancy before we had the miscarriage.
Okay, all right.
So, but we usually wait to the mark where it's safe to announce. I forgot how many weeks that is or whatever, but and for that situation we did wait for that mark, but then, you know, we had the situation with the loss of her dad, and you know, things just went south from there.
Yeah, I think for us, if that would have happened to us, we would probably be a little bit more on the edge with even, you know, telling people afterwards. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like if that would have happened to us, and then our next kid, I mean, we probably would have went 36 weeks before we even told people, because that's just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's definitely tough. For us, like we never had problems having children. So, you know, we never thought that would happen to us. Yeah. But surprisingly, a lot of women experience miscarriage, but it's also like a very touchy subject that a lot of people don't talk about. Yeah. So I think through talking about it more often, we get a better understanding of it, and also through talking about it publicly, like we did, it helps people who are dealing with the same situation be able to cope with it. So we always see those situations as, you know, as a way to help someone else through it. Yeah. Even though we're going through a tough time and we need to focus on ourselves, we always find some way of helping someone else with the situations that we go through.
Yeah. So was it no question in your mind that when this happened, you guys were going to talk about it publicly? Like, did you know that initially, or did you have some hesitations at first?
I feel like we never set out to talk about something intentionally, you know.
Okay.
So
right.
It's like if we have a miscarriage, we're not like, hey, like, yeah, we definitely need to talk about this, you know. It's always like we have a miscarriage and we tell people, like, unfortunately we had a miscarriage,
Mm-hmm.
and then people ask us to talk more about it, like, hey,
Yeah.
like I'm going through the same situation, and then we kind of we're like, okay, like if people want to talk about that, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
We always think about what they need.
I think people get things twisted a lot, especially when they talk to YouTubers and they think that everything that they do is just for views,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
They think that they want to exploit every situation that they're in, right? Because I can see audience saying, "Oh, well, as soon as this happened, they probably were like, oh yeah, let's go turn on the camera.
It's gonna be a great video, right?
Yeah. But that's not.
It's never the case, and I mean, some people are that way though. I mean, I'm not gonna get you wrong. Like, you know, there are some people out there who take advantage of every situation, and try to put that out there. But I mean, there's very few YouTubers, especially in the family realm, that are kind of like exploiting their kids, you know.
Yeah.
Or just their situations.
Yeah. So something like that. Is it better to go through that, or did you find comfort doing that, like in front of everybody and the comments and all of that kind of stuff? Because I'm sure you got a lot of support when you get to that kind of stuff. So is the support from these people that you don't know, does that help at all?
I would say it depends on the person. I mean, I can't speak for my wife, but I can speak for myself. Like, honestly, I feel like those people, the support of people makes you feel like you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
I think it makes me feel like that more than anything else. Like, so I wouldn't say it helps me, but I feel like it makes me feel like, okay, like I have a ton of people who are, you know, supporting like what I'm doing. So I shouldn't have that feeling of being alone.
Yeah. So, you guys, I was doing my YouTube research, right? So I'm just going down the YouTube timeline, seeing what you guys, be talking about and stuff. Then I get to this one video, and it was like, oh, let me tell you guys about my boob job. And I was like, wait, what happened here?
Yeah.
So I click on the video, and it's like, and I'm reading the comments, and everybody's saying, oh, good job, you go, girl. So one question that everybody had in the comments was like, what does TJ think about all this?
Yeah. And you know what? I think at the time I would have thought about making a video about that.
Mm-hmm.
But then I felt like that's the woman's realm. Like, that's them. But honestly, this is a good conversation for men to have when it comes to, you know, our wives and what we expect them to do, what we don't expect them to do.
Yeah.
And being okay with it too. So to like in all full transparency, with my wife going into that, I had second thoughts. You know, I was, you know, a little bit like, hey, like I don't know about this. Which, you know, any concerned husband would, because it's an extensive process to go through. You know, they're going through surgery. You know, they put you to sleep. You know, there's things to worry about there. So, but I had to really, you know, talk to her about what the issue was, and like really get in there and really understand her mindset behind why she wanted to do this. And there's things, you know, that as husbands we don't really understand about how women feel about their own bodies and their whether they feel they need to do something or not. The main topic for me that I wanted her to get to understand was that if you do this, know that you're not doing it. You're not doing it for me. You know, like, I'm okay with how you are right now. you know. And if you go through with this, I want you to know that you're doing it for yourself, you know, and don't feel like there's a need to do it to please me in any way. But when it comes down to this decision of whether she does that or not, it's very similar to what we experienced with the miscarriage. You know, it's like, it's your body, you know, so I can't tell you what to do with it and what not to do with it. I can't tell you what to do with it. I can suggest, I can make recommendations or tell you how I feel about it, but that decision is your decision. But I just want you to know that it has nothing to do with how I feel about you. So, yeah.
Was that something that was out of the blue, or was it something that kind of progressed and you kind of saw it coming, or were you just like, wait, what?
Yeah, I think if you pay attention enough, you're gonna see your wife scrolling through Instagram. You know, you're gonna see her, like, you know, paying attention to these different videos or whatever. And yeah, definitely, you know, it's progressively. And once my wife is very, very focused, and you know, when she gets her mind on something that she wants to do, that's where she wants to go, and that, like, so I pay attention to her all the time. Like, I pay attention to what she's into, what she kind of like is watching or looking at, and that for me, like, gives me a very good idea of where her mindset is at.
Yeah, because I know I actually have a couple friends that did it, and from my experience with them, they're like you said, they're very focused, and they know exactly that they want to do this, and there's not any any turning back. Once they got that decision in their mind, they're just full steam ahead.
Oh,
let me choose a doctor.
It's full force. I mean, and that's, I mean, like, honestly, it's just, I feel like it's a decision they have to make. And I know there's others that probably would disagree with me about that, but that's just how I feel about it. And that situation, you know, there's a lot of negative and positive about it. Like, you know, you got those girls who are like, yeah, you know, you go, girl, and then you got those girls who are like, why would you do that to your body? You know, so. But it's, you know, hey, I feel like whatever makes you happy, and that's how we got to where we are, is we do what makes us happy. Yeah. We do what makes us feel fulfilled. But, you know, hey, some people take a little bit further than others, you know?
Yeah. So at any point did you say, hey, I don't think this is a good idea? I know I say this is your choice, but let's just not do this. At any point did you just say no?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's definitely that first back and forth we have, and it's like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. But once you really get down to, like, underneath the surface level of what it is, as long as the reasons underneath are strong enough and compelling enough to make me understand your reasoning for going and doing it. If it's very surface level, and it's like, you don't, like, oh, I just think it looks good, you know, like, if that's your answer, like, no, we're not doing it.
So I don't even know what other, and this is just because I'm incredibly ignorant about it, but I don't know any kind of cosmetic kind of thing. I mean, to me, it's cosmetic, so it's like, oh, you just care about, like, what people think when they see you. I don't know of any other reasons to get it outside of that. I don't know below that surface, because I haven't experienced anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, self-confidence is one. If you know about, like, the process of, like, what a woman goes through when having a child, and also breastfeeding. So the breasts could have been a nice shape, you know, before and after the first child, maybe before and after the second child. When we get to like 3, 4, you know, and you're breastfeeding as well, they become very deflated and very very different than what they had before. Outfits don't fit the same. You can't wear certain outfits anymore. So there's a definite like self-confidence kind of issue there that can come up there. There's definitely an issue with self-image and things like that can come up there. But yeah, I mean, I think it just boils down to the reasonings behind it and whether it's if it's a reason that is deep enough and has enough substance for us to go forward with it.
Yeah, that was an interesting experience when I learned about that. I was like, oh, I've never even heard anybody really talk about that before. So I had to figure that out. And I knew that you would give me an interesting perspective because not only are you a YouTuber and you do all the cool film stuff and you make everybody look much better than they probably are, you used to be an engineer as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So engineering was it's kind of weird. Like engineering kind of made my love for school, like kind of even come out. Like I hated school all my life. And it wasn't more of, I feel like I was more of getting back at kind of like what motivated me towards school was when someone told me I couldn't do something.
Oh, right? Come on.
And then I was okay, yeah, like, I can do it. I just don't really feel like doing it a lot of times. So
that is so interesting that you say that because that is me 100%.
But like a lot of my motivation comes from like proving people wrong, and I think my senior year of high school, I got involved with this engineering course. It was like tech drawing 101 or whatever, and the drafting class or whatever. I learned everything, and the guy who was the teacher for that was like, he was just over the top for no reason. Like he just was such a stickler about everything that it was like why, like, they just let me just draw this thing, and he's like, nah, that's the wrong way, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. And just that whole process kind of got me into like really into engineering.
When I got out of high school, I didn't even know what I was gonna do. Actually, I just kind of stumbled into engineering because that's where they give you all the scholarships and stuff for, right?
Yeah.
When he got like a scholarship to go to school, and they hype you up a lot. Yeah, they hype the engineers up a lot, right?
Yeah.
What school did you go to?
I went to Virginia State University.
Okay, yeah. So they're definitely hyping the engineers up there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's like everybody else is here, and all the engineers.
You're an engineer? What do you do? Like, yeah, for sure.
And I'm riding that wave all through school, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm about to make more money than all of you guys.
You probably be on top of the world, man. Like, that's so serious.
And then I get out, and it was extremely easy to find a job, right? Because it's in demand, so I didn't have to.
They're always looking for engineers.
Yeah, always. Yeah. So I was like, oh, this is very easy. And then when I actually got there, I was like, oh, this is well, I started off in research, actually. It wasn't even in the private sector. But then when I got to the private world, that was completely different. I mean, everything was pretty much all done. All the designs were all finished. And it's like, at this point, I'm just kind of like checking the boxes. Okay, yeah, that screw's there. Yep.
Gosh, yeah.
And I almost feel like, I want to know what you think about this, because I feel like I didn't get the full story of engineering when I was in college versus when I got in the real world.
Yeah, I think the problem with us is we chose the most general engineering that you could choose. You're manufacturing, I'm mechanical. Honestly, you could be working at 1,000 places.
Yeah.
And there's so many different, applications for our type of engineering. But you know, my goal, I wanted to be an automotive designer. Like, I wanted to design automobiles, right?
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
It took me to my junior year as an engineer to understand. Like, I asked my my dean of the school of engineering. I was like, hey, like, this is what I want to do. He was like, oh, he's like, you need to be at Clemson to do that. Like, I was like, wait, what do you mean I need to be at Clemson?
But I'm here, sir. But I'm here.
He's like, that's a very specific, you know, like, you know, Clemson has that program, and most of the engineers that go into the automotive field come out of Clemson. And I was like, dang, like, you know, that's something I didn't know as, you know, going into school. I was like, I wouldn't be here, you know, I'd be trying to go there. Mm-hmm. So, but no, like, that was like, I feel like we were definitely sought after. I mean, my first job as an engineer was, I was going around a Honeywell plant,
mm-hmm.
and I was pointing out the different ladders that they had and checking it off to make sure they had ladders and PPE stuff there.
Big time.
I mean, that was my first job. And then, you know, I went over to this other job where I was designing heat exchangers and tanks and these huge things. And it was like the coolest thing ever, right? But then I realized, like, oh, like, there's no really room for me to create anything, because they have a book that has all the little things in there that you just pull out and you drop in, and that's it.
I'm so glad you're saying this, bro. So glad.
But I mean, honestly, I just feel like, yeah, it's not what I thought it was.
What are the biggest rumors or the biggest misconceptions about engineering? Reality versus expectations. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Reality versus expectations.
Yeah, I mean, I think people look at engineers as like, oh my gosh, like, you're designing all these cool things, and you know so much math. And I did do a lot of math in school, but at this point, there's no calculations that I need to do. You know, I'm just tossing stuff on my drawing, on my AutoCAD drawing. I feel like people look at us like as these super smart people, but honestly, mm-hmm. I think we just really like to put things up together and take things apart and figure out things, solve things, and we're just really intuitive in that aspect. But
yeah, that's what I would think too, because I really enjoy creating.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and I thought that I was going to be able to, like, create a lot, especially when you're in math class, you're in dynamics class, and you got to solve all this stuff just to get to this. Yeah. You know, I'm creating all this. One time I had
there's none of that.
One time I had this professor. He gave me like an F on my test, and he was like, "Congratulations, you were off by, I don't know, 3 inches. You just killed 30,000 people." And I was like, damn. Yeah. I was like, hey, I don't want to kill 30,000 people. Let me lock you in and make sure like I'm good. But then I get to the real world. It's like, they're never going to let one person be responsible for just.
There's none of that. Yeah. There's someone else signing. Like, so I wasn't a professional engineer or, you know, professional engineer. I didn't have my
PE.
Yeah, I didn't have my PE certification, right? So, like, I'm not signing off on drawings. I'm creating drawings, and I'm creating the design, but then I'm sending it over to a professional engineer who does a couple of calculations here and there, what she's probably done 1,000 times before. It's like nothing new to him.
Yeah.
And and yeah, he signs off on it. So it's never really fully my responsibility. You know, it's his certification on the line. So it's so many things that people don't really know about engineering that I feel like, yeah.
And I talk to I go to like high schools every once in a while, mm-hmm. and I give talks to like the seniors and stuff. And I think they stopped letting me come because of the information that I was giving them.
Yeah, you're not really hyping it up like that.
Yeah, not really hyping it up like they want me to hype it up, and that's only because I'm doing to them what I would want somebody to have done to me, and just kind of give me the real. I'm over here busting my butt in this circuits class, and it's not necessarily. I don't necessarily need to know any of this, right?
That's so
but the concept of it, I mean, yeah, you need to figure out problems and stuff. But if I don't figure out this resistor problem, like, I'm gonna be okay because somebody else is gonna know. Somebody else is gonna know how to do it, and it's not gonna be all on me.
I was in, what is it? Applied thermodynamics or something like that, and then I was in, I think it was just a normal dynamics class, and some of those equations and those problems that we had to solve were the most difficult problems I've ever had to solve in my life. I mean, it's literally they'll draw a little figure on the sheet, and they'd be like, solve this, and there's no words, there's nothing. They don't tell you what to do. It's just like, a car going around a corner, calculate the centrifugal force. It's like,
wow. Like, what?
It's been 3 hours.
Can you give me a hint? Give me something. And I don't think a lot of people realize too that those tests, they're like 3 questions long.
You miss one, you fail.
There's no multiple choice here, folks.
It's so crazy, man. You miss one, that's like a 70 right there.
Yeah. So you gotta hope for partial credit. Well, I know none of this stuff makes sense that I'm doing here, but if I could just,
there's been tests that we had that no one passed the test at all. No one.
Hey man, I'm glad you said that. I thought that was only my class.
No, that is very common. Very common. So.
I don't think that I ever had anxiety before or anything like that. Like, I never put myself in that category at all. I never understood what people meant when they say that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think when I look back, I had like test anxiety.
Yeah, that's a real
like
thing.
my stomach was starting to hurt.
That's something different, man.
I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. TJ is an awesome dude, shedding all types of light onto the YouTube world and what some people think and what actually happens. You can also follow their Daily Davidson page. I'll link everything pretty much in the show notes. And don't forget about me. Follow me on @TheDadVlog on Instagram. We'll be waiting for you. Hope you guys have a good time. Please stay corona free. See you guys next time. Dadvlog.
So use a chip off the old block. Looking at you got me thinking about my old pops. How I'ma navigate and get you through the roadblocks. You went from diaper change, poo-poo to potty train. Whoa, come and talk to me, I got a lot of game. Whoa, smile like your mama, but we look the same. Whoa, and you can talk all week, but somehow that sound like music to me.